Okay, here we go. This is building a groove in Ultrabeat. Ultrabeat, Logic's drum machine, an oldie but a goodie. Okay, first of all, very important. Here I have an empty channel strip established. Look at this, it's absolutely empty. If I press X and show my mixer, I just have loaded this channel strip and then I have the main output. Now this is important because a lot of people are loading from the library. The library is a holdover from GarageBand and it loads a bunch of stuff with it. Let me show you. Here's the library. If I go here to Mallet and I load this marimba patch, look at all that stuff that gets loaded in there. A bunch of effects, and then these effects are routed to other channels. Now granted, it sounds freaking great, no doubt about that, but this is all this pre-made GarageBand stuff that's getting globbed in here. And if you do this for 5, 6, 7 instruments, you're going to have like 40 tracks. So we do not want to use the library. We are producers. We don't need someone to paint by numbers all this stuff for us, right? So Command Z, I'm getting rid of all of that. I'm going to turn off the library and turn on the I button. I want to do it. I will do it, right? Use the I button and use an empty channel strip. If I go to track, new track, empty channel strip. That way, when I load my instrument, I'm only going to load just that into the channel strip and not a bunch of routing and pre-made effects. You will become masters of effects. You don't want anybody to load your effects for you. That's like a surgeon and somebody's handing you a butter knife. No. You want to load all of your effects. So here I am, and you want to load all of your instruments. And I'm going to load the instrument here on this channel strip. So we've loaded up an empty channel strip, and I go down to Ultrabeat, and I load up Ultrabeat. Yes. Now, here I have Ultrabeat, and I can press the keys, and it will play sounds. I'm going to look through these various kits. You can use any one of these kits to build your groove off of. I can go through all these different kits, and there'll be all these interesting grooves in it, right? What's minimal glitch? I have no idea. Let me listen to the sound of that. Nice. That's kind of an interesting kit right there. It's at a slower tempo. I could turn the tempo up if I wanted to get a different vibe. Right? Now, it's important to pick a kit that doesn't have any synths in it because you're going to be adding synths with your You're going to be doing that in the ES2 and in Sculpture. So you want to find a kit that doesn't have any pitched synths. And this drum beat is almost questionable because it's a little bit pitched, but I'm going to go with this anyway. So here I've loaded up this kit called Minimal Glitch in Ultrabeat. Now, I'll come down here to the bottom where it says pattern, and this is where there's a bunch of different pre-made patterns, which in the synth class you're allowed to use these patterns. My music class, you cannot use pre-made patterns, but in the synth class, yes, we can, to build our synth song on top of. So I come down here and I press the play button, right? And I'm hearing different effects, okay? This is the drum machine playing them now. I press play on the drum machine and it plays them. It's important once your song gets started to turn this off here. This is the on-off button for the sequencer in the drum machine. You're going to want to turn that off so that it doesn't interfere with what you're going to put on the timeline. How do I put this groove on the timeline? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to pattern where it says pattern, and notice it says drag to arrange window. Here's the pattern, drag to arrange window, and I will do just that, dragging this to my arrange window. And now the pattern is on my arrange window, right? It's a MIDI pattern, and then it'll stop when I want it to stop. If I have the sequencer on, however, look at this. The pattern continues. So make sure you turn off the drum machine in order that you're just dealing with this MIDI pattern on the main timeline. Okay, so that's my setup. I got Ultrabeat set up here, and I'm going to turn it off again. If I ever want Ultrabeat again, I just come down to my channel strip and double click it, and it will reappear. Okay, So here is my drum thing happening. Very good. I'm going to click loop and loop this out to get started with my project. I'm going to decide on a nice tempo. Maybe I'll jack it up. See what does that feel like. It's kind of cool at 141. It's also kind of cool if you slow these down. Low riding, deep and dirty, dank and dusty at 80, right? But I'm going to kick it up now because I'm feeling a little bit more energy on this one right here. Okay, so there is my groove that I can then begin adding my synths to and messing around with. Now, a couple of possibilities, things that I love to do on the channel, which I think are exciting and will give you some exciting variances, is I'm going to go down to modulation and choose this ring modulator, which Logic calls the ring shifter. I'm going to put the ring shifter on, and now we play. I'm going to select Groove Shadows, and I can get these interesting variances using these different settings called Groove Shadows. Nice. Now I can automate this. I can play with this knob and record what's happening. I press return to go to the beginning. I'm going to go down here to automation and turn on latch. That means that as I dial this knob, it will be recorded. So it's playing. And now I pull this knob out. Give me some variations. Okay, and now if I press A on my keyboard, this should show me that automation that I just made, and there it is. Right? Here's press return, and here's the automation that I just did. You can see the dial moves. So I turn on latch, and then I press play, and I rank with this dial, and I get these nice variances. This can be really fun for making your rhythm track sing and vary and mess around with it. Also, while it's playing, if I turn it off, it won't be on anymore. I can let it run for a bit, and then I can click it on, boom, and now it'll run, and I can do variances here. So when I turn it off, I just turn it off, and it turns it off. Right, here's the on-off switch for the Ultrabeat. So this is a lot of really interesting possibilities to get you going for your groove, and I've got this loaded up. I'm going to load up another thing. Notice all of these are not getting bussed to other tracks. This is all clean. It's all on one track. I'm going to set up my echo on here, or maybe I'll get my tape delay that I like, and I'll put this on now and see what happens. All kinds of interesting possibilities playing around with the tape delay. Bring the wet signal back, the drive signal up. Nice. And then I can put the ring shifter back on. I press A and it turns the automation on. So this is how we can get a nice, here's a prolonged delay. This is how we can get a nice groove going in our piece to layer up synths. Now I'm going to add a ES2 on top of this. I'm going to go new tracks, right? And then I'm going to go empty channel strip. I want to load an empty channel strip. I don't want to load a bunch of other stuff. And now I'm going to go over here to my instrument panel and select the ES2. Here's the ES2, and it's on some factory default right now. Now you can begin to look. You've made a bunch of your own sounds that you can use, but I can also come in here and look at some of the sounds that are available. And of course, I'm going to tweak this sound myself and adjust various things in the sound to get it to behave like I want to. Maybe I'll make it go down an octave. Right, so you can look at the presets, you can mess around with them, you're going to change everything sound you create. It's going to be your own original sound. Right, like just by adding this to using one of the waveforms down here. This is a bunch of interesting pre-made waveforms. I like this sound before. So now I've got my groove playing underneath, and I'm going to start laying tracks. Right? Boom, and you're launched, and your synth song is launched. So that is creating your groove in Ultrabeat and getting your synth song off the ground. Looking forward to hearing what you create.